Do you have any objection to take the prescribed oath?
I don't.
Please swear that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing else but the truth. Please raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Sworn in, my lady.
Thank you very much. You may be seated if you so wish.
There's no order to be made in terms of this witness.
No order.
No order to be
Yes, no order is made.
made. Mr. Lerena, what business are you in?
I'm a professional boxer.
Mr. Lerena, do you know the accused before court, Mr. Oscar Pistorius?
Yes, I do, my lady.
How did you meet him?
We met through my sponsor at the time, Daytona Group.
On what occasion?
I was invited to a track day by Daytona Group, and I happened to get to the car dealership, and I met Oscar Pistorius there, who was a sports icon. Looked up to him, and he was there at the dealership, and that's the day I met him.
If you say a track day, what is meant by a track day?
We went to Kalami racetrack to the car racing, to go watch the racing there. One of my friends, or mutual friends that I know, was racing that day.
You met Mr. Pistorius on that day. Who was part, the other people in your group?
The people we went to the track with?
Yes.
Well, obviously Daytona Group, the owner of Daytona Group, Justin Devaris, Darren Fresco was there, as well as a few other friends that I recognize from rugby.
Now, since that particular day, did you socialize with Mr. Pistorius after that?
Yes, I did. I sat with him on occasion to meet for him to help me with training, because he was going to help me with the diet, and he did. So I spoke to him to help me with my career, because obviously he's an icon and a legend in sport and athletics. You know, for me as a young sportsman to get help from a guy like him was very important. So I was rubbing shoulders with him, and he was going to help me with the diet and a little bit of running.
Then, during January 2013, you were at the restaurant with Mr. Pistorius, is that correct?
This is correct, yes.
Which restaurant was that?
We were at Tasha's Mount Resort.
And you were there with a group?
Yes, there was 4 of us.
Who were you?
I was sitting there with Mr. Pistorius, myself, Darren Fresco, and a guy called Martin Rooney, another runner.
Just repeat the name, I'm sure nobody heard.
Martin Rooney.
Martin Rooney.
You'd have to raise your voice a little bit. There's
No problem.
a noise, I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's
It
very
is the air
disturbing.
conditioning.
Is it the aircon?
Yes.
I thought so.
Must I repeat that?
Yes, please, just repeat the names of the people that were there with you.
It was Mr. Pistorius, me, Darren Fresco, and Martin Rooney, another runner.
Mr. Lerena, there's a file in front of you. Could you open that file at G? You'll see it's marked in yellow on the side, G. And it's photographs. It's marked photo album 14. Do you see that?
Yeah.
You see
Correct. Yes.
Would you mind just opening those photographs in front of you? And the first photograph is marked 1132.
That is correct.
Can you recognize that place?
Yes.
What is that?
That's Tasha's Mara's Arch.
And is that the restaurant where you were?
Yes.
Sitting where?
We're sitting inside.
Inside. Okay, can you just turn the page. 1133. Does that look familiar?
Same restaurant.
If you turn the page again to slide 1134, does that look familiar?
Yes.
What is that?
That is inside the restaurant where we were seated.
Now, if you say where we were seated, is there any significance to the red arrow on that photograph?
Well, that is the table that we were sitting at.
Whilst we have this photograph open in front of us, were there other people in that restaurant?
Yes, there were. I can't tell you how many, but there were other people in the restaurant.
There, one can see if that's your table, there's a table just next to yours. Do you know if there were people?
Yes, there were people next to us, but I'm not sure if the distance was that. I cannot remember that clearly.
Oh, there were people next to you?
Yes, there were.
1135. Can you recognize that view from the photograph?
Yes, I can.
And that is?
The tables we were sitting at, but there's another table closer to that that wasn't like that.
Yeah, the one right on the right.
Yeah.
You had two tables, am I right?
From what I remember, yes.
The two tables with the white napkins on them, as one can see there.
Yes, that is correct.
Is that where you were sitting?
From this angle, that looks correct, yes.
Okay. 1136 is just a different angle. Can you recognize that?
Same table, yes.
The table with the red arrow.
Yes.
And then we have a different angle on 1137, am I correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now then, on photograph 1138, we have the same table with numbers on it. Can you allocate names to numbers where people were seated?
Where am I able to look at the screen?
Yeah, you can look
All
at the screen.
Where number 1 is where Oscar Pistorius was sitting. Number 2, I was sitting there. Number 3, Martin Rooney. And number 4 was where Darren Fresco was sitting.
Good. So, you were there for what purpose?
Well, I had spoken to Oscar prior to this, and to meet up with him, he was helping me with the dart. He was helping with a little bit of running because I had a prep for my next fight, which was in February the 16th. So this was the 13th of January, around there, from what I remember correctly. And he was helping me with my final running and dart to bring my weight down as I fight in the cruiserweight division. And Oscar knew how to, obviously being an athlete, he is how to get in tip-top shape. So I met him there, and he was helping me with that dart.
Were you eating or drinking something?
Well, we had a drink. We sat down, had a drink. I was eating. I ordered a pasta.
What happened then?
Well, what happened then was, obviously, I don't know for what reason, but a gun was passed under the table. And
Well, if you say a gun was passed on the table, just explain to the court. Who passed the gun to whom?
Darren Fresco passed his gun under the table to Oscar.
Darren Fresco, sitting at number 4, passed his gun to the accused that was sitting at number 1.
Yes, that is
How
correct.
do you know that?
Well, I'm sitting in a company, 4 people, so it's not like there's a large group, and when you're sitting next to someone, you can see the gun being passed under the table.
Was anything said whilst the gun was handed over?
Whilst the gun was passed to Oscar? Yeah. Yes, from what I remember correctly, Darren said, "I'm one up." There's a bullet in the chain. I'm one up. I then believe Oscar removed that bullet.
You believe, or did you see it happen?
I did not see that happen.
Did not see it.
No.
But let us just explain to court exactly what you saw and what you heard. You saw the gun being passed under the table.
Well, the movements, the actions. I didn't see the gun.
Okay. And you heard what Mr. Fresco said.
I'm one up.
One up. What do you understand by one up?
That there's one loaded into the chamber.
Okay.
That people who carry guns, I suppose, carry one up.
Okay. And what happened next?
Shot went off. A shot went off in the restaurant, and then there was just complete silence. Once the shot went off, I looked down, I was in shock, and I looked down on the floor, and exactly where my foot was stationary, there was like a hole in the floor.
Just before you go on, so you looked down and saw there was a hole in the floor. Can you just go to photograph 1139? Does that look familiar?
Yes.
Is that what you saw?
Yes.
You saw the hole in the floor. What else did you see?
Well, obviously I looked down, and from, I don't know, the marble tiles or the shrapnel, I'm not sure what, but I had a little graze on my toe. But I wasn't hurt or injured. I didn't need to seek medical treatment or any of that.
Were you bleeding?
I was scratched from the shrapnel. I don't know what from, but there was blood on my toe, yes.
And what did you do?
Well, from what I remember correctly, I went up to the bathroom to go get a tissue just to wipe it. I was in shock because I've never been in a confined area where a gunshot's gone off by accident, you know. Could have been a fatality. So for me, I was very shocked. I don't think it sunk in until 3-4 days after. Because when it happened, I was shocked, but it happened, you know. I didn't expect it. I didn't understand it.
But just shortly after that shot went off, who said what?
Well, the shot went off, and I do remember Oscar very clearly apologizing. Is everybody okay? Oscar, is everything okay? I apologize. I don't know what happened, how the gun went off, but he did apologize and say, I'm so sorry, it was a mistake. Are you okay? Is everybody okay? And all said, I remember I was fine. I was just obviously shocked by the gun, the bang of the shot.
What
It was
else
very
was
loud.
said?
What else was said before anybody came to the table? I do remember Oscar saying, please, to Darren, just say it was you. I don't want any tension around me. Just say it was you. And then once that was said, the people from the restaurant came to the table, and then that's when Darren said it was him.
Okay. So the accused said to Darren the words that. What can you remember? What it is?
Well, don't quote me, Darren, but I remember he said, please take the blame for me. There's too much media hype around me. I just take the blame for me. And Darren Fresco, when the restaurant owners or manager came up, Darren took the blame. I'm saying vague, you can't quote me word for word, but along those lines.
Okay. And what happened thereafter?
We paid the bill. Obviously, the restaurant owners and that came up. The story that Darren discussed with them, I'll be honest, I was in complete shock, so I don't know exactly word for word what Darren discussed with them. But the bill was paid and we left, and I never spoke about it again. I don't know if Oscar did, I don't know if Darren did, but I never spoke about it again. The only reason I knew about this was after the 14th of February, I fought on the 16th. When I woke up the Sunday morning after my fight, I had over 100 missed calls on my cell phone from countries around the world, the newspapers here saying about the Tasha's incident. So I never discussed anything after this. For me, after I got up from that table, I never repeated it to anyone. I didn't say what had happened. I just got woken up to calls that the story had been told, and basically what it was saying in the stories was Oscar had shot me in the leg. That's when I stood up for myself, and I went back to the media to protect my career, and I said, that's nonsense, because I wasn't shot.
Okay.
Over newspapers in the UK saying Oscar shoots his power. That wasn't true, so that's why I came forward and said, that's nonsense, I was not shot.
Okay. And you gave your version to the police?
I gave my version to the police once I got called. They called me to, obviously people had spoken about who was at the restaurant, so once the police called me, they told me I can't remember the policeman's name, but you have to meet him, you have to discuss the scene. And then I met with him.
Thank you. I have nothing further, my lady.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Rule?
Lady, I really apologize. We were unaware that this witness would be called. Now, of course, we have prepared on all the statements,
Yes.
but I just need a little bit of time of discussion. On the other hand, I may ask Mr. Oldwich to do the cross-examination, because I don't know if I want to cross-examine a boxer, my lady. That may not be good. But no, on a serious note, my lady, we just need a short time to... We didn't know that we're coming.
Yes. So what do you want me to do?
Lady, I'm really in your hands. I don't know what the time is. If I see it's 12:05. We can maybe come back for a short term before lunchtime,
Yes.
or we can adjourn till 2:00. I'm really in your hands.
Well, it depends what you need. I can't give you something.
Can we go to 2, my lady? We did not know the witness was going to give evidence.
Yes.
We received different names of witnesses, and we got caught by surprise. We have prepared on the witness, but we need to go through the notes.
Yes.
If it can be at 2:00, my lady.
2:00.
Thank you, my lady.
Okay. Before we adjourn, I'd like to see counsel in my chambers. No, after the adjournment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Court will adjourn.
Good morning.